Hi friends, I'm Crystal Bessie with the Louisiana Farm to School program. This month's Louisiana Harvest of the Month has a long history in Louisiana, although it's not native here. It's actually one of several contributions brought from West Africa to the southern table. It's rice. Rice is an essential ingredient in Cajun cuisine such as gumbo, jambalaya, etouffee, and boudin. Join me here in Acadia Parish as we uncover the grains of truth behind this simple, hearty dish. Rice is the seed of a grass called Oryza sativa, which originated in China. Due to its ability to grow in a variety of climates, it spread to many parts of the world, and it's now grown on all continents except Antarctica. Rice came to Louisiana around 1718, along with enslaved Africans that held a wealth of knowledge on rice cultivation. When sugarcane and cotton growing declined on plantations after the Civil War, rice became the agricultural commodity that it is today in Louisiana as one of the top producing states. Today, rice is one of the world's most produced grains, feeding billions of people every day. Today we're here in Acadiana, the French region of Louisiana. It's better known as Cajun country. It was here that the indigenous people relied heavily on corn, along with fish, shellfish, and wild game before rice was grown here. I'm here at the Thibodeau farm with Ross Thibodeau. He's joining me today, and he's a fourth-generation farmer and partner in his family's business. They grow rice, soybeans, and crawfish. Is that correct?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, thank you for having us today.
No problem.
Can you walk me through the life cycle of how you plant and grow rice and then harvest in Louisiana?
It starts back in the fall, and this field was a crawfish pond. It was flooded with the traps in it. And then after the crawfish season was over, we drained the water out of it and then plowed the ground, got it ready. And then the next spring, we planted the rice in it.
Okay, so it kind of drills a hole and puts the seed down in the hole.
Cuts a spot and it puts the seed into the hole and it covers it up.
Okay. Rice grows well in water, which acts as natural pest and weed control. Early settlers would flood their fields with nearby rivers and bayous, and some farmers continue this practice.
About 6 weeks after the rice is planted, it's time to flood it up, so we pump it back full of water. When the grains are full and fully formed, that's when you have a mature rice plant.
Okay, so the field stays flooded while you're letting it grow.
Right, and then when you see that the rice is about to be ready to cut, you'll drain it again and come in with the combine. The combine separates the grain from the plant and throws the plant back out, and the grain goes in the hopper. Then we put the water back on it again and flood it deep, and then in January we'll put traps in and start harvesting crawfish.
Okay.
So it's a crawfish rice rotation.
French settlers would grow something called Providence rice. Have you heard of this?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know why they call it Providence rice?
Because they had to pray to Providence to
That's right.
get it to flood.
That's right. They just waited on nature or God to have a healthy crop.
Yeah. We do the same thing. So, yeah.
Well, thank you so much for having us at your farm today. I'm excited to see what happens after the farm, the mill process. But first, let's take a look at what delicious rice dishes Judy has cooking up in the kitchen.
Hi, my name is Judy Myhand, and I'm here today with Casey Ader at Supreme Rice. So Casey, tell us what you do here.
So at Supreme Rice Mill, I manage primarily the custom harvest operations. So we will custom cut rice for our rice growers. So everything that's involved with that, basically on the field side.
Okay, very interesting. So rice is a really starchy grain, and it's a staple ingredient for more than half the world's population because it's really versatile and easily available. There are many different types of rice. Brown rice, which is my favorite, because of its nutty flavor. And as a nutrition educator, I also like it because it hasn't been refined. It has a different storage requirement because white rice that's been refined has a longer shelf life. One of the benefits of the brown rice is that it's high in dietary fiber. The rice that we're cooking today is brown rice, and I'm going to cook it using a method called the pasta method. No particular measurements are required. Just bring the pot of water to a boil and then gradually add the rice to it while you stir it a little so it doesn't settle to the bottom. Then let it simmer for about 35 minutes for brown rice, but if you're doing white rice in this way, it only takes about 18 minutes, so it's really quick. Rice does have a risk of foodborne illness because there's an organism called Bacillus cereus that if rice is left at between 40 and 140 degrees, which we call the danger zone, that toxin is heat stable. And so you have to be really careful about that. So what I always tell my students, remember it's called Bacillus cereus, and for short we call it B cereus, and I tell them when you're storing your rice, be serious. That means get it right, cool it after you've cooked it, get it right into a container, get it into the refrigerator, cool it down fast. So today we're fixing two of my favorite rice recipes since I have a lot of leftover cooked rice. Leftover rice is best for things like stir fry because it doesn't have the starchy coating on it. It's been cooked and hydrated and gelatinized, and then you let it sit in the refrigerator overnight or even longer, and then the sticky outer part dries out so that you can put it into the hot fat and it won't sizzle too much. Now we're going to make some pineapple fried rice with Louisiana shrimp and Louisiana rice. So what I've done is I've chopped up green onion, red bell pepper, some yellow onion, and we're getting ready to add those to the pan. You'll notice our beautiful serving container.
Yes, I love it.
Because what makes this fried rice extra good is that we serve it with cold pineapple. The contrast of the flavors is just great. A little lime is always good. Some cilantro. Do you like cilantro?
I do.
So quick, so easy, so delicious.
It's really good.
Isn't it good? The next thing that we're going to prepare is kala. In the 1800s, Black women made a living selling kala and other street foods in New Orleans. Did you know that?
I did not.
All right. It's a way to use cooked rice. As a matter of fact, they replaced the kala with beignets, but I think kala are better. So today we actually made some kala. We mixed the rice with some egg and flour and baking powder. Some kala are made with yeast, but the quick way to make them is with baking powder. We put a little sugar in there, and then we made them in the air fryer instead of frying them in deep fat. We think they'll be healthier and just as delicious. Here they are, and we're gonna sprinkle them with a little powdered sugar.
Thank you. That's really good.
Really good. Crispy, you hear that? Can you hear that? Now it's time for us to check in with Crystal, find out more about how rice is grown and processed into this wonderful grain that many of us eat every day.
Here we are at the Supreme Rice Mill, the largest mill operation in the state, and they have two locations, one in Crowley and one in Mermentau. It's been selling locally made rice under the label Supreme Rice since 1936. And joining me here is Kyle Henry. Thank you so much for having us.
Oh, welcome. We're glad to have you guys here.
He is the milling manager for Supreme Rice, and Kyle is going to take us on a tour of the mill here and show us a little bit more about how rice milling works.
Here at Supreme Rice, we process over 1 billion pounds of rice each year, with 60% of it going export business to other countries and 40% being packaged and sold here in the United States. We take the rice in from the field, we remove the stalks and dirt that may come in from the field, and then we take the shell off, which is the tough outer covering that you see, which what we call rough rice. After the shell is removed, you see brown rice. All rice starts out as brown rice, and people do buy and eat that. That's something you can find on your shelf. Well, we take all brown rice, which is how it comes after taking the shell off, and we would do what is called bran removal. Bran is what gives it the brown color. We take the bran off through what we call our milling machines. That removes the bran off, exposing the white starchy grain, which is what everyone's used to seeing. The milling process also breaks up some of the rice. So we take that rice and we send it through a series of sizers, taking out all the broken kernels so that our customers get the full white grain, which is what you see in the bag. That's what people eat. We don't waste anything. We sell all products. We sell our broken grains, and we even sell the shell and the bran that we discussed earlier. That is mixed in and sold as animal feed.
So after you get through the milling process, what happens after that?
Once all the rice is being placed in the storage bins, the clean rice storage bins, it can be packaged out in a variety of ways. You'll find Supreme Rice anywhere from a 1 pound bag on a store shelf up to a 15,000 ton ship load going overseas.
Nice. Well, I really enjoyed that tour today. Thank you so much for having us.
Very welcome.
Yeah, so there's a saying that if you haven't eaten rice today, have you really eaten at all? And I think that's true of a lot of Louisianans. Have you eaten rice today?
Of course.
Awesome. Me too. The Louisiana Harvest of the Month program showcases a different Louisiana-grown food each month in Louisiana communities. We hope you will join us in tasting Louisiana this month.